Good morning everybody. We're going to be starting with a Sindy set today. Now as you can see, I've got my bits and pieces here and I have my glamorous model here in her hat, which is a little sort of almost a sort of slouch hat, but I've sort of pinned it down there to give it a little bit more, and obviously her cute little scarf that matches in it. I am using a 4-ply yarn. This is obviously a variegated one. You can do it in whatever you want. I have some little buttons here which I've used to decorate, but again, optional. You pop a flower, you could pop a bow, whatever you like to work with. Now as far as the hook is concerned, I am using a 3mm crochet hook. Obviously I have my needles, a little bit of thread just to sew the buttons on, a couple of different needles there, and of course my scissors, and I have a trusty pen to mark things down. Realize there is something I do have missing, but I do have my drink in my little Blythe mug I've got here. Of course, for some reason my throat keeps going, so I have a drink ready. The only thing I haven't got is a stitch marker, which would have been an idea, so bear with me a second. You will need a stitch marker. I have one. I will use this one today. It's a little peacock. It's one that I got with my Attic Spin dye yarn. He is really cutie though. Look at that little peacock. Right, peacocks seem to be a bit of a theme at the moment because my daughter's getting married in the not too distant future, in a couple of months. And peacocks is a bit of a theme going off there because of the venue she has chosen. So we're going to pop that to one side as well. We're going to pop our Sindy over to one side. Pop her over there, she's not far away, and we're going to get going. Now actually, before I get going, I'm going to comment on something. People will be going, oh, will that fit Barbie? No, it won't. I've got a Barbie here. It's my little recycled Barbie here. Don't know whether you saw the video on this. 90% recycled she is. Amazing. Recycled plastics. But as you can see, Sindy's head is quite considerably larger. It would be a very, very slouchy one. I mean, depending on the hair, I suppose. Some Barbie, should I say, do have quite big hair. It might work. If anyone's interested in me doing a set for Barbie, obviously the scarf will still fit. But if you wanted me to do a hat, just pop a comment below and I can get on to doing that one as well. To be honest, there's not much difference. But I know sometimes people prefer a separate video because obviously if you're just a Barbie collector, you don't want to sort of watch a Sindy video perhaps. Right, let me sort your hat out, missus. What you doing? Right, over you go. Let's get on with this second hat. Now, absolutely love this variegated yarn. Haven't got a clue whose it is. I have a tendency to pick up yarns and then the ball band falls off and I don't know whose it is. It is very amigurumi-esque in a way, but we are going to be using quite a few half trebles. Remember, I'm using UK terms, so if you do need to get a conversion chart before you get started or something like that, it might be worth, or just have a look at some of the other videos around that do mention them in UK terms if you're not sure. Right, let's get going. So I have a slip knot on the hook, not too tight. I'm going to do 2 chain. I'm not a fan of the magic circle. I think this magic circle, I don't know, what's it called? Magic ring, isn't it? I prefer to do this 2 chain because I think it keeps it tighter. And then I'm just working in to the first chain. How simple could that be? Right, we're going to do 6 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So that's our first round. Now we're going to jump straight to half trebles now. So for my second round, it's going to be 2 half trebles in each of those 6. Now for a half treble, if you're not sure, yarn goes round the hook. We find the space that we need, the stitch. It is there. We pull the yarn through. Hopefully it's not going to catch. There we go. We should have 3 on the hook, which, yes, it looks like a treble at this point, but it is a half treble, and this is the reason why, because then you're going to grab the yarn and pull it through all 3, whereas you wouldn't do that for a treble. We want one in the same stitch, so we need 2 in each, don't we? So I'm going back in that same stitch and pulling it through. So that is 2 half trebles in my first stitch. So I want 2 in the rest of each of the 5. So 1. That's our second one with 2. That's our third one with 2. Number 4 with 2 half trebles. Number 5. And number 6. So we now have 12 stitches. Don't worry about that little hole, because if you've done a decent slip knot, I keep wanting to say slip stitch, slip knot, you can just pull it tight. If it has caught, which sometimes it does, you can always thread the yarn through. When you're finished, just thread this yarn through and then pull it tight. Just make sure it's secure when you do that. I'm going to bring her back into the view because it looks very dull, this work at the moment. So let's have this pretty little face there as well. Well, we know what we're up to then, because we're going to try it on her anyway at some point, so she might as well be there. Oh, it's rolling around everywhere. There we go. So as I say, we have 12 stitches now. It's not enough. We need 24 for our next round. So again, it's 2 in every one of those 12. So yarn round into that first one, pull it through all 3, because it's a half treble, remember. So this is our second half treble in number 1. So I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. now. I'm not going to say there's 2 in each, but there is 2 in each. So just remember that. I know it's easy. Sometimes you get distracted. You start doing the single stitches. So here we go. So this is our 2 in our second one. 2 in the third. I said I wasn't counting like that, but I have done. Never mind. 2 in the third. 2 in number 4. This yarn's getting a bit tangled around my fingers. What am I doing? End up with a knot just like that. So yeah, that was lucky. I can't remember what I said now. 1, 2, 3. Well, I think we're on number 4. We'll soon find out. I'll count it at the end. I'll say this is number 5. 2 in number 6. 2 in number 7. 2 in number 8. In number 9. It's done it again, look. Why is it doing that? 9, number 10. And number 11. And our last one, and then I need to check I've got the right number. Luckily with crochet it's very easy to take it out. Now perhaps I should have put a stitch marker in, might have been a bit easier, but I'm just going to count my stitches back now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Wasn't that lucky? I am going to bring the stitch marker in now. It's a little bit big, this stitch marker really, but it will do for now. It's bigger than the hat, isn't it? So we're now going to do another increase row, or round should I say, but this time it's not going to be 2 in each. It's going to be 2 in your first one. I'm just unraveling this again, and then 1 in the following 2. So that'd be a 2, and then 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, all the way around. It actually gives you 8 sets if you do that, and we will end up with 32 stitches, still half treble. So yarn round, 2 in this one, and then a 1 and a 1. So or not, or drop it, and a 1. So that's our first set. Okay, so we're going to do a 2 in the next one for our second set. That's 1, and that's 2, and then a 1 and a 1, 1 and 1. So that's our second set completed. 3 set 3. So we have a 2 in one stitch and a 1 in each of the next 2 stitches. Okay, here's our fourth set. 1 and 1. That's our fourth. Our fifth. 2 in the first one, 1 in each of the next 2. Number 6. 2 in the first one, 1 in the next 2. Oh, gone to a lovely purple now. that stitch marker over. This is 7, a 2, a 1 and a 1, and we have our last set, 2 in this one, a 1 and a 1. Now if you want to check your stitches at this point, because I know I almost got distracted there, I think I've done that okay. We should have 32 stitches on there, 32 half trebles. Our next round is going to be just half trebles. Excuse me while I grab a quick drink here. I don't know why it's like that, it just does it every now and again. So let's unwind a bit of yarn for this round. So I'm just going to go stitch marker to stitch marker, 1 half treble in each stitch. So off we go. I love how the variegated works because I'm making hats for Dollycon at the moment. This is one of the designs I am doing. Each hat's different, just very slightly, and I think that's really nice. That's why I say I like working. Although I'm going to be doing a couple of plain colour ones as well, I do like this variegation. And this one in particular, I've just done one in a purple, which is nice, but I think this pink, I just love how we get a splash of orange in it, and you know, there's this sort of beigey colour as well, with colours you wouldn't really expect together perhaps, but they do work really nicely. Now don't forget, if this is going a little bit fast at the moment, it is just a half treble round, so you can just pause it until I get to the end of it and then rejoin me. Or if you're sort of not happy with that, don't forget you can slow me down in the settings. I think as long as you are familiar with both a double crochet, keeps knotting, doesn't it? Double crochet and a half treble. Don't do this to me. Don't knot. It is a part, I don't know whether this one is wool, 100% wool. It does feel, you know, wool catches a little bit sometimes. I know it has a wool content in it because I can feel it in the yarn. It makes a fabulous yarn, but because it has these little tiny, I don't know whether you can see, it has little tiny weeny hairs. And then it sort of, if it folds back on itself, it catches. So it can be a little irritating, but I do love it as a yarn. And a lot of the 4-plies, because their sock yarns are quite often either 100% wool or have a wool content. So I'm just going around all the way to this stitch marker with these half trebles. I really do like the sock yarn rather than a standard 4-ply yarn. I think it is a little bit finer, depending on the brand, of course. And obviously if you're getting it from sort of artisan dyers, there could be a chance of there being a slight difference, but it's not enough to affect what you're making. So we're almost round to our peacock. In fact, I think one more stitch and I'll see. Can you see it's already starting to curve? So I'm going to push it the other way because I don't want it to curve, and I'm going to move my stitch marker up because it's again amigurumi style. Our start position does change because it's spiral rather than stitch to stitch. So I'm just going to mark down what I did there. Now we have one more increase here. Now we're going to be doing 2 in one stitch and then 1 in each of the next 3. This will give us 40 stitches. So we're going to start with this and off we go. So 2 in our first one. This is 8 sets actually. So 2 in our first one. And then 1 in each of the next 3. So 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3. So that's set number 1. Set number 2 coming up. 2 in our first one. 1 in the next 3. 1, 1 and 1. So that's another set completed there. And another one coming up. 2 in this one. 1 in each of the next 3. If you don't want to over worry about counting, you can just go to your stitch marker. Because we've just moved it up, it will be pretty accurate. So you don't need to worry about that. But if you have got pen and paper handy, or you've got a chance to be nice and quiet, you can count your stitches. So 1 in each of the next 3. 1, 2 and 3. All you need to remember, it is 2 in the first one of the set and then 1 in each 3 of the next part of the set. And another one. We're not near that stitch marker yet. Oh, we are actually over halfway, aren't we? One in each of the next 3. A 2 in the next one. 1 and 2. And 1 in each of the next 3. 1, 2 and 3. And I think we have our last one coming up. It looks like it. We have a 2 and then a 1, a 1 and a 1, and we are there. So that is the maximum this is going to be increased by. We're now going to just do half treble rounds, and it is just literally 1 half treble in each stitch, and we're going to be doing 4 rounds of that. So again, I've got my pen here ready so I can mark it off. I'm going to move my stitch marker because these are just going to continually spiral. So I do move it up every few rows, I'd recommend. So we're in there. So stitch marker to stitch marker for 4 rounds. So if you're sort of whizzing off or pausing me, I will see you in a minute. If not, let's get going. Please don't try and sort of do the same speed as me unless you're comfortable with it. Some of you will be faster. If you're a beginner, you'll be a little bit slower, but take your time. It's worth getting it right and doing it slower rather than trying to rush and then it goes wrong and then you sort of might get upset with it, or, you know, it'd put you off, and you don't want to be put off. You want to enjoy what you're doing. The whole point of any craft really is enjoyment. And if you're doing it right and you're happy with it, you'll be relaxed with it as well. A little bit of escapism perhaps. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So we're just on our first round now, and they are just half trebles. So it grows quite quick being it half trebles. This sort of hat can be done in just double crochets, does take a lot longer. But I think with this style of sort of, I don't know, can we call it a berry, a slouch hat? I'm not quite sure what to call it, to be honest. It's a bit of a crossover between 2 styles, I think. But I think the half trebles work well with it because it's meant to be a looser, sort of sloppier. That makes it sound awful, doesn't it, saying sloppy, but you know what I mean. A more relaxed hat. Trying to stop not wanting this to go on the floor. I have got a box next to me. I could drop it in the box, I suppose. But no, we'll keep going. It's only a small ball of yarn. So this is our first round of 4. The stitch marker doesn't feel so bad now. It felt really heavy to start with, but now the item's getting larger. It's not so bad. Oh, it's caught again. I say it's just those little fibres. You can feel it. You know, sometimes you push it through and then you're like, oh, I know it's caught. Sometimes the best thing to do is, like it did it then, is to take it out and do the stitch again. Because the more you sort of pull at the yarn, the worse it's going to get sometimes. You don't want a sudden lump in your work. So that's our first round. So I'm going to mark that down because I'm going to try and be organised. That's round 1. And it's girling, but you can see it looks very big at this point. I think it's not going to fit on her head, but obviously it has to be wider to then come in a little bit. That's the only reason. So we're on round 2. So I'm going to move a little bit quicker here. So speeding up doesn't always work when you're working with this sort of yarn, because as I say, if it catches, it's sort of bulking up in my hands again. I really don't know why it's doing that. It does feel nice though to work with. I know it is a wool and sometimes wool can be rough, but it does feel quite soft as you're working with this one. There are some wools I've had and I've used, and well, I just can't use because they feel awful. And so I feel like they're ripping my skin off. Oh, we got some nice fuchsia, some nice bright, deep pink. Look at that, see, it did it then. Can you have bright and deep? I don't know. Would you call this fuchsia? I would call it fuchsia. It could be just dark pink. Now everybody sees colours in different ways. This was a smaller ball of wool. I think this is a 50-gram ball. If you get a 100-gram ball sock wool, you'll get loads of hats. Your dolls will be covered in variegated yarn because you do get quite a lot out of it. So I like to buy sort of the smaller balls, and I'm not doing too much of the same thing because I get a bit bored then. Almost round for number 2. I think it's going to be a similar colourway to this one, but you can see this one started with a green, whereas this has started with the orangey sort of mustardy colour. That is round 2. And it's properly coming round now. I mean, if you had a larger doll at this point, it might be worth sort of seeing how it sits on other dolls' heads, and then you've got a pattern for that as well. Very versatile when you're doing it this way. It can end up fitting lots of different dolls. But obviously for the Barbie, it does have to be small. In fact, I'm going to move my stitch marker up because it's going to change position, isn't it? It doesn't like coming out, this one. Where are you going? Because I'm trying to do it one-handed. In you go. So this is round 3. Wondering what colour. I'm wondering if we're going to end up with the green, because there's like a green there, isn't there? I'm wondering if it's going to sort of end up being the green on that bit. That'd be nice. Because again, especially when you're actually selling them, sometimes to describe them on my websites, you have to put the individual designs on. You can't really just say it's pick or mix, you know. You might get a variegated one like this or this. So I do like to sort of give each one a bit of a description. So it's like this one, for example, it would be fuchsia edge with pale pink button. So it would be nice if this one came out with a different edge. Although, as I said, these are Dollycon ones, they're not going on my site anyway. But it's nice to sort of identify them, even though they are variegated. Or you could say sort of orange centre or green centre, something like that. I've got loads to finish for Dollycon. I know some of you who do see me on Facebook, etc., know that I had a fall last week. It's been a week exactly. So I've got some lovely pictures. Hope you're not squeamish. I've put some pictures on Facebook of the bruising on my leg. So I'm not going too far. I can walk okay, but I'm not wandering off too far. So it means I can sit down and get some work done. This video is a couple of days late because the weekend went totally skew-if. But the theme theoretically this week was going to be my penguins, which I'm going to get done. Yes, I have a Barbie National Geographic doll that I want to show. And I'm hoping to do an amigurumi penguin and also a penguin chocolate orange cover for you guys who do my general crochet. So that is number 3, our last round. Still can't tell whether it's going to be green or not. So just 1/2 treble. Actually, I think we're going to hit a bit of an orange. Just 1/2 treble in every single stitch. And on our next round, we're going to be starting to reduce. Or have I got a... Look, can you see what's happened there? Take it out. If it does that, take it out, because you don't want, like I say, it to look messy in your work. So I was just looking at my pattern then as well. I'm not decreasing on the next one. I'm changing stitch on the next one. I will decrease on the one after that. Oh, that bit of orange is just that, isn't it? It's not the colour I'm working with. I thought there was orange coming, and it's just the bit of yarn that we started the work with. Let me just double check I'm where I should be on the camera there. I think I've got the angle okay now. Although this is where the stitch marker is going to start annoying me in a minute, because it's going to start clattering on the table as this gets bigger. But I can't obviously lift it up because of where the camera is, so it makes it a little bit awkward. Well, there's plenty of this fuchsia. There's no sign of it changing colour just yet. Although it is a beautiful colour. I'm not complaining. Almost there. And then we can change the stitch. Obviously, again, a half treble has more flexibility with it. It has more stretch. So it's great for certain parts of the doll's body if you're needing sort of it to be a little bit looser or stretch over the hips or something like that. Whereas we're now going to be moving on to a double crochet. So there we are round. I'm going to move the stitch marker because, as I say, I'm changing to a double crochet now. So it is a tighter stitch. And it's not going to necessarily change position yet, but it is best to just keep that stitch marker moving. So we have a 1 double crochet in the top of every single one of these half trebles. So double crochet, remember, do it again, no wrap, straight in and pull it through. Yep, all the way around in every single stitch, all the way back round to our stitch marker, and then we will reduce the stitches. It is the next round. Says me tentatively looking over at my pattern. My pattern is very roughly written out. I do need to get some patterns on the site. I have got a pile of well, there I show you very rough looking notes like that, and I need to get them all converted into patterns so I can pop them on my site. So if you guys want to buy them and have a pattern as well, I know not everybody who watches the YouTube videos likes patterns. That is why you watch the videos, obviously. But sometimes if you do like patterns, or if you're not sure on a part on the pattern, it's nice to have both. I like both when I've done it. I've usually sort of get the patterns as well. And it's always something there to have if you don't want to watch YouTube. But yes, I must get some done. I've really got a big backlog. I've also got a pattern to write up for Simply Crochet magazine as well. I finished the item for them. That will be going in later in the year. I'll show you when it goes in. I'm right pleased with it. It's a little bag that I've done. Well, not a little bag, a human size bag. And I'm really pleased with it. But that's not going until later in the year when it does, because I'm not allowed to show you before. It's all secret. But I've got their pattern to write up first. But I will definitely get you this one done today, even though I'm behind on the others. What's happened there is caught around my stitch marker. There we go. We're all right. Time to decrease. Again, I always say that. I'm going to do something and then it catches like that. Dear me. Right, I am round. I'm definitely round now. I am decreasing, and I'm going to be doing 2 double crochets together, then just 6 individual double crochets, and then you'll be repeating that around. I've got it down that we have 5 there. So here we go. Now, if you're not sure, 2 together. I know some places miss a stitch. I think mostly in the UK it's double crochet 2 together. So we go in, we pull it through. We don't finish that stitch. We go into the next one, our second one, we pull it through. Then we have 3 on the hook and we pull it through all 3. And that pulls 2 stitches together. Okay, so now we need 6 individual ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And I'm going to mark that down. I'm going to be good. 2 together now. In one, pull it through. In the next one, pull it through all 3. Let me make sure I'm in the right stitch there. Yes, I am. And then 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I think we're going to get the green. 4, 5, 6. That's our second one. That sounds really sad, doesn't it? And I get excited when the colour changes. I don't know whether if you use a lot of variegated yarn, if you're the same, but when I get to changing the colour, it's like, oh, new colour. And I think sometimes it breaks the tedium if you've got a lot of base, sort of same old rounds sort of to go. So 2 together, 6 individuals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Mark that one down. That is our third set. And here it's starting to rattle now. It's only got a couple more rounds to go. 2 together, 6 individuals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the green, and 6. We have one more set to go, so 2 together. It's really pretty green as well, and 6 individuals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Perfect. Pleased with that. Sometimes you do it and you think you've counted and you haven't, so you do have to watch for that, but I was good this time. Right, we're going to have another decrease round, and it's going to be 2 together, then 3 individual ones, and this should be 6 times. I'm sort of pattern checking at the same time as I'm doing this. So if I go wrong, I can alter it. So then you get a pattern that's spot on. So 2 together, 3 individuals. 1, 2, and 3. That's my first ones. 2 together, 3 individuals. 1, 2, and 3. That's my second set. Keep these 2 together tight as well. So if you go in 1, you go in 2. When you pull it through, but then make sure it's nice and tight, otherwise it makes a hole. 1, 2, and 3. That's number 3 one. Set number 4, 2 together. And then 1, 2, and 3. 2 together. Then we have 1, 2, and 3. That's our 5th one. I'm just checking my maths are out here, so I don't think they are. 2 together. Then 1, 2, and 3. I count that as my 6th set, but there's definitely not back to the beginning there. So let me do a quick add up here. We have 35. The number we had before was 35, and then we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. It is 7. I'm fibbing. You see, this is why it's good that I'm checking now, because when, as I say, when I write the patterns up, I know they'll be right. So it was actually 7 sets, which you could obviously see because you had your stitch marker in. Bit of fluff there. Stitch marker in, you knew it was wrong. Oh, well, I knew it was wrong, so I could alter it. So we go. So we go. 1, 2, and 3. It's very odd. There's quite a bit of maths with the pattern making. You do sort of, you dividing things and timers in things. And yeah, my maths went wrong there. I said there was 6 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 30. Yeah, I'd said there were 6 5s in 35. Yeah, there's not this 7. Here we go. So we now just have a double crochet round. Now shut up wattling about things. I don't know. I'm sure some of you must turn the volume off and just watch it. We've got 1 double crochet in each of these stitches. Now, this is sort of the band area. And so we'll pop it on her in a second. If when you pop it, try it on your doll, it's too loose, maybe do a decrease in this round. Just maybe 2 stitches, something like that. If it's too tight, you need to do less decreases. I would have thought on average, most of you will be, because I'm not too tight, I'm not too loose. I used to be too tight, but it's pretty average, the crochet sort of tension that I've got now. So hopefully it'll be all right for you all. The other option is, if you've made it, you could pop a little bit of elastic in if you feel it's too tight or too loose. Not too tight, obviously, but if it was too loose. Nearly there, couple of stitches. And just one more. On this last one, I'm going to make a slip stitch because that's how I like to finish my DC rows. So we'll fasten that one off. I will do the actual sewing up, etc. in a minute because I would like to do the scarf for you first. So let's just do a quick check. If it's a little tight, don't worry, because crochet is very sort of flexible. Right, now that looks weird, doesn't it? But what I'm going to do is then I pinch it, pull it down and stitch it, which we'll do in a minute, so we don't need to worry about that just yet. So I'm going to move her over to one side and we're going to get our scarf done, and our scarf's going to come out in some of the green. Yay! Now we're going to be doing 40 chain for this scarf. If you want to make it longer, you just add on the chain because there is no shaping to it. It is just a couple of rows, so you can make it as long or as short as you want. I've actually created a little buttonhole for this one, so it was easier to pop the button on. So that is where I will sort of comment, but again, you could still make it longer or shorter. So here we go, 40 chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep moving your finger up to keep your chain neat. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. My daughter's calling and I can't get to the not answer bit. I hope it's not affecting the video. I forgot what we said. It's a nightmare when you do that, when you're doing chain, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I thought I got to 20, but I thought I'd better check. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. 10 more to go. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Chain is such an important part of your crochet. The more chain you do, the neater your work gets. So it is an important one to do. Now we're going to do just one double crochet into each of these stitches. So it's just 40 double crochets. So again, I'm going to I'm not going to go too slow. I'm just going to sort of do it steadily, but if you need to just pause me while you do your row, if you'd like to take your time a little bit more, that is the best way, I think. So now you know it curls up, so just keep flattening it out because it will flatten. I'm trying to think the colour of green this is. Can you see a bit of the pink's got in there, which is quite cute because it gives sort of a little bit of difference in the colours. Oh, and now we're changing to orange. This is going to be an interesting scarf. I always make sure that when I make the scarf, I make it straight after the hat if I'm going to be pairing them up, because it's like this. It started green, the hat ended green, so they do go together. I mean, it wouldn't really notice that much, but I just think they look a little bit better if you sort of try and match the colorations up. Just keep giving it a little stretch because it will curl on you. No, she's probably calling me because people don't usually expect me to do a video on a Monday, but as I say, my weekend went a little bit not quite planned, so I didn't end up getting the video done, so that's why this theoretically should have been last week's video. Try and make sure your chain doesn't twist as well when you're doing this. It's very easy for it to sort of flip over. In fact, I'm saying this is orange. It's really sort of like I don't know, sort of a caramelly colour almost. It's quite nice. We're nearly at the end. So there's really not much to these scarves. If you've got a bigger doll, you can just make a bigger version. It's exactly the same process. Right, I'm at the end, but I'm going to do 2 chain and turn, because my next row is going to be half trebles, but this is the row I'm going to pop the actual buttonhole in. Now I'm doing my buttonhole after the first 6. Again, if your scarf's longer or if you don't want a buttonhole, that's fine. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now I didn't count the 2 chains, so it's technically 7, but I did 6 after that chain. We do 1 chain here. I'm going to miss 1 stitch, and I'm going to do a half treble in the next one. Yep, so all it's done is given us a little hole, and then just half treble all the way along the rest of our 40 stitches. Well, probably about 30 now. Oh, I dropped it. Almost there. I say, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy what I do. It does make a difference to us YouTubers if you do subscribe. And of course, there's no cost to your subscription. And please like, comments. Comments are always great. And also it gives me other ideas if people have got ideas. So please sort of comment as well. And click on that notification bell if you do want the updates when I do a new video. Because again, it's sort of, I know I've got that on quite a few people. So then when I pop on my YouTube, I can go, oh, look, they've done a new video. So I can then have a look, because you do miss people's videos. And I do like to keep up with what everybody else is doing as well. Got a few friends on there, particularly in the doll world. And, you know, it's nice to support them. So I like to know when their videos are going up so I can have a little look and make a comment or a like. So obviously, sort of all subscriptions, likes, comments, it's all good for us YouTubers. And it does make a difference to sort of what we're doing and helps us make more creations for you. We're nearly at the end of this one. Now the last stitch is always a bit weird because you don't want to get 1 bit, you want to get 2 bits. There, come on. You have a bit of a battle to get in it. Right, so you can see we've got that. Well, we do need 1 more row because it just neatens up where that is. You could leave it there, but I'm going to do 1 more row, and it is just going to be double crochets. So just straight below if it's a double crochet. There we go, and off we go. I have a bit of an orange there, and I think we're changing to a baby pink. This is a nice combination, this one. Oh, a tiny bit of baby pink. And now we're back to what I would say. Oh no, that's a proper orange, isn't it? I don't really know what to call the first one. It's sort of a soft orange caramel. Just check I'm not blurring. I know when I get in the zone and I'm concentrating, the crochet comes nearer to me. Oh, I've got a bit of pink coming in, because that is the position I would naturally crochet when I'm not on the video. I have it a little bit closer to my body, and then it'll be disappearing off the screen, so you'll not know what I'm doing. And I've tried so hard to keep it central. I know my early videos, I sort of dropped them sort of down here closer to my body, and yeah, it's not so great. I mean, obviously, if you're listening to the words I'm saying, you'll know what to do. But the whole point, really, of YouTube is so you can visually see it. That's all sorts of colours, this. It went pink, it went orange, it went pink, it went orange. Oh, look, can you see? That is where the hole is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a double crochet into it. Just makes it look a little bit more pronounced. Forgot I was at it. Oh, a little bit of catching with the wool there. A couple more stitches and we have finished. I will just make a point of sort of showing how I then shape the hat so it holds its shape a little bit better. Now obviously this bit at the end is a chain, so you need to go into the top of that chain, and that is it. It's as simple as that. It's only a little wrap scarf. It's not a long one. You could just make it a lot longer and she can wrap it around her neck a couple of times, which would look quite cute. Now I will take this one off and you can see what I've done. So we've got my buttonhole there, and I've just stitched a little button on and it just goes nicely over the button there. So I think that worked really well doing it that way. So here we are with this. We need to sew both these ends in. Decide which way you want it to fold. Maybe that way. Doesn't really matter. I would say that was the back, but it doesn't really matter, however you want it. And I will pop a little button. I want to choose, I think maybe if I got a little green one in there, sort of a yellowy colour, isn't it? I think one of the orange ones, to be honest. I think one of these little orange buttons might work quite nicely on that. So I'll do that in a minute. But let's have a look at this hat. So I just wanted to mention what I did. Now, the way I positioned it was I popped it on the doll, and I found it a little bit easier to do that. So here she is. She's got quite flat hair, this one, so it's a little bit easier. But this piece here I'm going to use for the shaping. As I say, it looks like she's got a balloon on her head at the moment. So decide sort of your positioning here. And then I just pinched it. I need to go around a little bit further actually. I just pinched it and decided, well, that is where I'm going to just stitch it in. So using this little piece here, I should have threaded my needle up first, shouldn't I? Because now I'm trying to hold it. Oh, it's holding itself, that's okay. So I'm just threading my needle up. And all I've done is, in fact, I'll take it a little bit higher, just about there. Yeah, so it's just not fully on the edge. And a couple of stitches holds it in place. I mean, you don't have to do this. You can just shape the hat every time you're putting it on. But when I'm sort of selling it to people, they might not realise that. So it's better if I actually do it for them. So I'm just going to push that through, and I will sew that in underneath after the fact. So it just holds me the hat in place. So I'm going to pop it back on her head. Keep still, missus. It's a really awkward position in this. And then you can sort of fluff it out. Not that that's a word, but never mind. Fluff it. I don't know, I'm just making up words now, aren't I? And you can see then how the actual sort of swirling of the pattern works. And then we will pop on a little button. I'm not sure about the orange now, but I suppose the orange goes with that because I want the same for the scarf as I do for the hat. And that's just stitched on with some standard sewing cotton. If you've got a matching colour, that's great. Or you can just do it in white, I find. Or if it's a darker colour, a black. Black and white cottons are always good things to have in. So she's here now and not finished, but we'll show you roughly how it's going to sit. I've done it the opposite way around, haven't I? I've done it the opposite way around to the other one, but there you go. So you just need a bit of fiddling about and making sure you're stitching in position. I mean, today she's modelling a gorgeous skirt that I got from the Sewist off Etsy, and the little top she's got, which is absolutely gorgeous, isn't it, is one that my mum knitted, so I love that so much. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. As I've said before, if you do enjoy my videos, please like, subscribe and share. It makes a massive difference to us on YouTube. It helps us sort of be able to do more creative work for you and sort of be able to sort of support us a little bit more. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all very soon, and it should be Penguin Week. That is the theory. See you soon. Bye bye for now.